back to Straight Outta 10 Tons, the drum and bass podcast hosted by myself, Project Lando. And for season 2, we've tried to go for a little bit more from an interview kind of aspect. We've had some really big artists in the series so far. And the next man you're about to hear from is definitely sitting in that lane. So, sir, would you like to introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do?
10-ton beats up in the building.
Yeah, Outta Lando. This is Decoy, straight out of Essex. All of that. Low down deep, urban agency. Yeah.
Killing it. So what you could have said is, it's Decoy and I'm killing it. You could have just said that. That would have covered it. All right, so we'll start right from the beginning. Obviously, we know each other. So I know, like, you grew up in Southend. What was it like for a young Decoy in Southend? Was there a big drum and bass scene, or how did you first come across it to kind of think about even becoming an MC?
Yeah, I think that, like, when I was younger, growing up, like, I think it went back to the school days. Like, I was in the playground one day when I was about 15.
Yeah.
One of my oldest friends called Joe, like, Sketch, he was from Bermondsey, London, and he moved down. And he was like, obviously back then it was TDKs, and he was like, look, I've got this tape of Brocky and Det. And I was like, cool, let me borrow that, bang it in my Walkman, you know. So like, bang, push it in. That's it, I'm hooked. Like, from that moment there.
That's simple. That simple. Just
that simple, because for me, like, I've never felt, I've only ever been influenced by probably 2 albums in my life. And that was like Bob Marley Legend growing up.
Yeah.
And probably Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusions 1 and 2. So for me, then maybe Eminem's first album as well. But for me, when I heard that first, like, Jungle on Cool FM, and there was no internet, and it was like FM dial, and I was like, okay, so I've heard the set. I'm running back to yard after school, getting the FM dial. Like, Mum, what's this FM radio? Didn't even know about it, the radio, you know.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of the fans coming up now don't realise how hard it was, especially if you lived outside of London, to get a listen of drum and bass. Now, you know, you go onto Facebook and type in drum and bass and you get as much as you want. But back then it was a lot more difficult, right?
Yeah, like where I lived, like I live in sort of like Southend-on-Sea, Leigh-on-Sea area. So basically, if you weren't down by the seaside, you couldn't pick up that dial, you know. So
yeah.
I was to get in my car, or a friend's car. I'm too young then. You'd take me down to, like, you know, take me down to the end where I could just sit there with no blocks around me, and then you'd sit there and listen to Cool, and it was like, okay, cool. So I knew from day one that was the pinnacle.
Yeah.
And I also knew that locally there was a lot of things going on locally. So at the time I was dating a girl, and her name's Jolene, and her brother was called James, and he was called DJ Escher. This is going way back, yeah?
Ah, I know Escher.
And Escher rolled with Shodan, you know?
Yeah. Small world.
I used to, when I was dating her, I used to go and sit in his bedroom, and him and his MC Raw, and I was like, oh, God, I want to do that. So it all started fitting in. I was hearing the Brocky and Det, then I was seeing like Escher with Raw, and I was watching it, and I was like, I know I can do that. So then I started going away, penning, took my time, and then it was like, okay, right, there's FM radios going up all around South. Like, Southend was a big place back in the day, man. It was popular.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realise how much of a hub for drum and bass Southend was and still is today, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to this in a bit, but like, I mean, just prior towards like Kano, Dizzy, Titch, all them man blowing up, they was all on radio down our ends all the time.
Wicked.
But like, so then Langdon and Basildon was popping. Like, there was a station called Class FM. That was the first one.
Yeah.
I managed to get on Class FM. I used to roll with a little team like Abyss, Rogue, Terror, Psychic. Like, we was sort of like just doing our thing.
So little crew of, were you all MCs or a mix of the two, DJs and MCs?
Sorry, Shade, Dubplate and Psychic were the DJs. Me, Abyss, Rogue and Terror were the MCs. And to be fair to them MCs now, like, I'm always on their case. Like, if they was still penning now, they would be like doing what I'm doing, because they were very talented.
Yeah.
And then I moved on to Charge FM. Like, so, you know, I spent a few years, and then Charge FM for me was the big, like, it was just always on, and it was just banging.
That was a big station, man, back in the day. Everybody knew about Charge.
And they had bare politics, but, you know, big up Recall from back in the day, big up Slick, all them guys there. It was always on. And the thing I liked about it was always in a rundown ghetto flat. It was like, you know, them times, isn't it? Like, you're nervous going there, like.
Yeah.
The DJs are putting the vinyl in the black sacks and hiding their tunes. And
yeah, bruv, I remember it. Like I keep saying, like, people don't realise what it was like back in the day. Like, I remember, I think it was either Rude FM or Rude Awakening, but that was in a squat, bruv. It was in a squat. You had to dodge the dogs to get up to the loft. Bruv, it was a nightmare. You didn't have the Plus Studios, like Rough Tempo and all them places that we have now.
You get some shady character open the door, you walk past 3 people asleep on a sofa.
Yeah.
You walk through the door and it's in someone's kitchen and you're like, oh, right, okay.
10-ton beats up in the building.
So, yeah, it's like Charge FM, popping that off for like there was always Syndicate, yeah?
Yeah. So
there was Charge FM and there was Syndicate that were both on the borders of London. So obviously in London, I knew there was the Rude FMs, the Rinse FMs. Rinse FM had a big influence on me as well, because I used to listen to, like, when Wiley and all that man were doing Jungle, you know?
Yeah.
And then I was like, it was always like, you can't really go on Syndicate if you're on Charge, but X and everyone was all on Syndicate and Rude. So I was like, look, I need to be independent. So at that point, I said to, like, Slick, and I said, look, you know, I'm getting asked to do these shows. And then literally it progressed from there. And then I just said, then the pinnacle was obviously going on Cool FM, linking up with Logan. And I think within two weeks of being on Cool FM, Chris had asked me to go on Super Sunday, you know? So, and, yeah, like, big up East, man. It's, you know, a legend. But looking back, it wasn't an easy time for me on Cool FM.
Was that because you were from outside of London and you were kind of competing on the same stage as people that live quite close to the station? Obviously, you know, you're very talented at MC. There's no getting away from that.
I think it was nothing to do with that I was outside of London. I think it was the way I MC'd, like. You know what I mean? Like, firstly, you know what I mean? Like, for me to have got on there was the pinnacle. Like, I've never been so proud to, you know, go on that station, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, at the time, Logan's smashing it. He's just he's coming up, you know? So I think what it was that certain people on there must have been behind the scenes like, well, where's this Decoy come from? He's suddenly doing Super Sundays with Logan and Chris, and he's only been on here for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Straight away, you know, in the scene, there's always been like, there has to be a pecking order.
Yeah. And I can understand why certain artists wouldn't like that very much.
You have to do a year here, a year there. You know,
very much so.
For me, it was like my mindset has always been is like whether I get there or not, I believe I will be number one. So I'm going for Super Sunday, you know? Yeah. From Super Sunday, I'm going for every main arena possible. So, and then I was on there for about 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
And then I remember Flirt run some competition like to win £1,000, and me and Navigator won it. Like, they paired up loads of MCs.
What year was this? Big up Funky Flirt, by the way. Big up Eastman. What year are we talking?
I'm not, oh, mate, I don't know, like 15 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not too sure, but so basically I'm like just on the up and I'm put with like a legend, you know what I mean? It was either Navi or 5-0. It might have been 5-0.
Yeah.
And anyway, basically, like, I won that. And then off the back of that, just when you think doors are going to start opening, doors started shutting. And I was never told this to my face, but people were saying to me that a lot of people have got a problem with how you MC on the radio.
And is it your style of MCing, or just the fact that you got there too quickly?
No, I don't think it was never that I got there too quickly, because those that knew me knew that I had probably done 10 years graft on pirate radio before I got there.
Yeah.
To me, it was like I stayed on call for about 16 months, maybe 2 years. And I made the decision to step away because it was such a big decision, but I've never felt so uncomfortable in my whole career of MCing. And that doesn't make me proud to say, you know, because Easton was always a legend and like made me feel welcome. But I never felt that I could be myself, because from the time when people are telling me, yo, you need to tone your bars down, you can't deliver them kind of bars, you can't do that, because we're from, you know, certain people are just MCing slow, and, you know, I'm coming on there with some new fast double time rap and stories. And
so is it obviously we're not mentioning any names and we don't want to cast aspersions on anyone, but was it the fact that people felt threatened by how good you were? That this new style had come along and they were like, hold on, hang on, we need to slow this guy down because I'm not there yet. So why is he MCing so well?
Yeah, exactly that. Why has Logan got him MCing with him? Why has Chris got him MCing with him? You know, so you know, there was. It just felt to me it was this game's never been a competition for me. This game's have been like, you know, like you see what I do with all the up and coming MCs. Like if someone is good, I am the first one to go, oh my god, that guy's sick. I'm putting him on.
Yeah.
And I'm from this era where you are, where no one ever wanted to put man on. So it was always
exactly, bro.
Very frustrating, you know. So. In the end, I just felt that it wasn't the right time. You know, sometimes you can want something and then you get there and you're like, oh, this ain't a bit of me because I'm all about energy. And if the energy's not right, then I'm out of there, you know? So
yeah, totally understand that.
So then obviously, see, the funny thing was that this story is funny because if you go back play my Cool FM sets, you'll hear me double timing.
Yeah.
The only other MCs that were double timing in around them times were probably X and Herbs. Obviously, X was very more lyrical than Herbs.
And Skibber.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah. And then I stepped away. I had some private stuff go on in my life, so I couldn't be around for a certain bit of time. And then I come back, and it was like Azar, Grandma, Harry Shotter, and all these people are going, "Rah, listen to these MCs," and I'm like, I've always MC'd like that.
I mean, I think we're moving a little bit ahead because I want to come back to kind of that thing a little bit later.
10-ton beats up in the building.
Going back to like when you were growing up, you were a fan of the music. Then you started listening to Escher and Raw, and then you decided, right, this is me. I want to be an MC. Was it within that Southend drum and bass scene that you met Complex, or did you meet Complex before that? Because I know you're both from Southend. I know you're very good friends. Big up Complex, by the way.
Yeah, man. Complex has had a massive influence on me. Complex I met him on Charge FM, and I used to go up there and because Slick run the radio, I used to just jump on Slick's set, you know, because we could do any time. It was all a bit of a mad show, really. Yeah. And then Charlie always used to hit me up, and he was always polite the way he come across. I always liked the way he messaged me and the way he held himself and the way he spoke. And so one time I was like, yeah, man, let's do a show, innit? And then we done a show, and then that was it. Like Complex Decoy was formed, and then it just stayed for like 6, 7 years, 8 years maybe.
Yeah.
And then the buffer that was put in was obviously I got invited to go Cool FM, and that's when this game's hard, man. Is when you've got your partner,
and only one is invited and the other isn't. I've been there, bruv.
Because if I could take him, I would take him. But obviously at the time, I've got Logan and Chris saying, come on, call. You know, and they're not going to be like, bring your DJ. They don't need to.
Yeah.
So obviously, whereas Charlie would never say, but it's heartbreaking, man. It genuinely, it's like when we'll come to this in a bit, because like, obviously further down the line in this interview, we'll talk about when I got signed to Urban Agency, the same situation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, I can speak from that standpoint as well, where either your brethren gets a bring in and you really want to be part of it, but you haven't been asked, so you can't, or I've been offered something and someone I'm working with really wants to bring in, but I've been offered and I can't bring someone else. So that is where I think performance, whether it's acting or singing or being in a band or whatever, you know, you do it with people that you hang around with and grow up with. And sometimes, you know, people get certain offers and it leaves other people feeling like, you know, what am I going to do now? But for me, I've always thought it's all good to be part of a crew, but you also have to have your own path as well. You have to have your own brand, your own thing that you're doing. So if something like that happens, you've got something to fall back on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that comes back to why I've always just done everything on my own, man. My biggest regret to this day is that I have never had an MC partner. You know, that's my biggest regret because, you know, when I see X and Evil and I see, you know, like Skibber Shabba, you know, when I see them things there, like, but then I look back to Hyper D and I think he was always on his own, man. You know,
he was, he was always on his own. He always had a bag of people with him, but as an artist, he used to do everything on his own.
And if someone says to me, like, would you rather run a set on your own or with an MC? I'd probably be like, I'd rather run it on my own, man.
Yeah, I'm the same DJing as well, to be fair. I'd prefer to DJ on my own and do a back-to-back, but you know, promoters
But
they like to put people together, right?
Back to that thing where like one person, you know, goes or gets a bring in and the other one doesn't. I've always been that guy that if that was my DJ or my MC partner, I'd be like, bruv, good on you, man. Go and get it.
Yeah, for real. No, I mean, like...
But I feel like I've always been surrounded by people that are like, oh, he's fucked off and gone there. And I'm like, right, if that was me on the other hand, I'd be like, go get it, man. I'm so pleased and proud of you.
And I think, do you know what? I think people think the same thing. I think if you've got a partner and, you know, you've gone off to do your thing, I think on the one hand, they are really pleased for you. They've got to be, because they're your friend and you hang around with them every day and they know how much you want it. And at exactly the same time, they want it as well. So it's a really difficult balance to kind of communicate with what your partner or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's a hard conversation. Let's put it that way.
10-ton beats up in the building.
Like you said, you're on call and you're doing sets with the likes of Chrissy Chris and Logan D, all massive names in the scene, and even back then, still, you know, very well known DJs. And at some point you linked up with Fatman D, right?
Yeah.
Part of that whole bio beats movement. When did that happen? How did it happen? And do you have any projects with Fatman for the future?
Big up Fatman.
Yeah, standard.
Yeah, I think that around the time of Cool FM and all that, he kind of like, he released when Bio Beats first come out, he released a mix of me and Complex.
Right.
And around that time, I've got to big him up because he done something for me no one else has ever done. He took me on Radio 1 Extra with Chrissy Chris, you know, so...
I remember that.
I've still got my past, man, and that was, you know, back then, man, that was huge because like nowadays people go on Radio 1 Extra like it's nothing, but back then it was like, yeah.
Well, bruv, to be fair, I think even now, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Anyone goes on, like, you know, national radio, it's a big deal. Back then, it was even more of a big deal. Do you know what I mean? It was a huge look. I mean, I remember speaking to Fatman and him saying that he was doing a Bio Beats showcase with you, and I think was Dominator there as well.
Yeah, I think it was me, Dom, V-Dubs and Shady.
Yeah, I mean, that lineup there on any day of the week is massive in itself, and must have been such a pleasure to be part of that group.
Coming back to this was all around the time when I'm on call. So you can imagine people in the background are like, right, how's he doing this show, that show? Suddenly, wow, how's Decoy on 1 Extra?
1 Extra, yeah.
You know, I mean, I was blowing, man. I was blowing.
Yeah.
I felt it as well. And I was staying humble, but there was a lot of negativity around it, you know. So, but yeah, but as things progressed with Fatman, I felt that I noticed that I was being tied to a crew.
Yeah.
And I had to have the conversation with him where it was just like, look, do you know what? I'm so humbled and grateful that, you know, you've put this mix out for me and Complex, but I'm always going to be my own man and I'm always going to make my own moves. And then that was it. We kind of like went our own way, you know? I
imagine he respected that decision. I think it's funny, actually, that the first time I actually met you, and I don't know whether you remember this, but it was on set for one of Fatman's videos, that Beat Goes video.
Was that in the basement at the pub?
In the basement, where it was the set was like a casino.
Yeah, that's at Escher's. That was at Escher's pub.
Yeah, and you I think you came on, and for the people that are listening, I'll put the link to this video in the show notes so you lot can have a look.
Go boom boom.
Yeah, the beat goes dum. You come in, I think you whispered something in his ear, and then you go off camera. Were you driving a Honda Civic?
Yeah.
Because you know how Fatman loves his cars.
Yeah.
He was like, this is Decoy. He's such a sick MC. And you want to see his car, man? Man's got a Honda Civic, you know? I was like, okay, right.
I think at the time that was a decent ride, man. I bought that one brand new out the showroom. Yeah, that was fucking.
Yes. Come on.
10-ton beats up in the building.
Just for the listeners, if they're kind of, you know, trying to wonder where we are in this conversation. So we've had Decoy first find drum and bass at school. He's then moved on to listening to it on Cool FM, then linking up with his friend Escher, who is a DJ. Watching those two in action really inspired him to become an MC. And off the back of that, a career was born, which led him to places like Cool FM, which we've mentioned, working with people like Chrissy Chris and Logan D, and also doing a show on the national network BBC One Extra with none other than the legend that is Fatman D. There'll be a lot of MCs now that would love to have had a journey like that. And the thing with this story is your journey's not even finished. It's just started. So we're now getting to a stage where, I don't know whether the listeners know, most of your fan base, I imagine, might not know that you took a massive break from drum and bass and then came back. What were your reasons for leaving? And then what were your reasons for making a comeback?
Okay, so the first reason was that I got put in jail. Not proud of it at all, but lessons learned, you know. And that was, I can say what that was about because it's in the past. That was for like selling weed and shit like that. So, you know, I've got kids now, you know what I mean? I'm grown up and we all make mistakes, and that was just a mistake I had and learned from. So that was the first thing. And then after the Cool FM thing, I can't lie, my confidence was so low. No one ever knew this at the time, you know, but from the time when people indirectly tell you, you can't MC like that, you need to tone it down, it broke my heart, man.
Yeah.
It broke my heart. And I had to seriously think long and hard about whether I wanted to be in a game that it felt like I'd been bullied, but no one directly bullied me. And I'm a big man, I can hold my own, you know, but behind closed doors, I had some real issues, you know, like the self-doubt, like had been put there.
It's low moments, isn't it? Low moments and dark times. I mean, people who don't perform or want to perform for a living probably have no idea the amount of dark times and doubt that you have.
Yeah, and I went through massive self-doubt, and at the time I was like involved, like I was married, I had my wife, and the marriage, this is all at the same time, so the marriage ended probably like the last 2 years of the marriage. Like she was always like, oh, you need to grow up, you need to get a fucking life, you can't be MCing. Listen, she's a great mum, but she was always putting down my music, you know, and I'm like, I'm bringing in like $1,000 a week, like don't be knocking me, like, you know what I mean? I could never get my head around it. So because of that, I kind of stopped as well. So it was a confidence thing, her on my case. And then basically, like when the marriage ended, I went to a real dark place, but I started down life coaching, and the guy's name was Darren, and he just literally saved my life. He just said to me, he said, what makes you happy? And I was like, football, MCing, gym, and my kids. And he was like, right, well, you see your kids, but do you play football anymore? I was like, no. He was like, right, go and play football. He said, you do music? I said, no. He said, go and do some music. You know, he said, are you going gym with me? I said, no. He said, go and do some training. I went back to him 2 weeks later, and I was like, wow. Like I was like a new man, because all the things that I loved, I stopped doing.
Yeah.
And he made me rediscover. So then this is like, I must have been on this is about a 2-year gap now from drum and bass. So the whole time, obviously I'm mates with Logan anyway.
Yeah.
Lucky to have that relationship, you know, big up Dan. But the whole time I'm listening to drum and bass. I'm listening to every CD pack that comes out. I'm listening to every radio set.
So at this point, you've gone from being an artist to a fan.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm still... Yeah, I'm in a dark place. Anyone's messaging my pages, I'm ignoring them. Like I'm suffering with depression. I'm not in a good place. Yeah, like
I think that's really important to admit. And on previous podcasts, we've spoken about mental health, especially amongst artists. And I will put some links in the show notes to websites where you can get help or talk to a counsellor or whatever. Also, I'll ask you for the details of your life coach. Maybe we'll put a link into the show notes as well, so people can check this guy out. If he's helped Decoy, he could help you as well.
I think the thing is, like, until I see Darren, I mean, because I was going through the, you know, dealing with losing my music through my own choice.
Yeah.
Dealing with losing my marriage. I mean, as much as maybe I didn't want to be there at the end, that you're still left with that whole, like, well, where did it all go wrong? So I sat in his room and he said to me, listen, man, like, you know, you got severe depression. And I was like, yeah, I thought he was talking to someone else in the room. I was like, I'm the life of the party. I'm the bubbly. You know, he put his arm around me and, you know, he broke me down, man. He took me back to being a kid and we spoke about some deep shit. And it made me really realise and understand mental health, because I had no idea. And then, you know, the journey I've been on, I've got a couple of tunes that made it through the storm. I've actually just done a new deep one that's coming out soon, but I started realising that, like, I am not afraid to talk. Like, I am not afraid to talk about anything that I'm feeling. I'm a deep, sensitive spirit, man, and I feel it deeply, you know. So,
Yeah.
And the thing is that my best life lesson to anyone, right, is one year my mate's wife had an affair, and my mate was on the floor crying, and I was patting him on the back. I was going, "Come on, mate, fucking." I was basically going, "Man, up you get, come on."
Yeah.
2 years later, I'm on the floor crying. Yeah, that same guy's patting me, yeah, putting his arm around me, hugging me, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm laying on the floor crying because I'm thinking I weren't there for him 2 years before, because then I now knew the pain that guy felt, yeah. And I was like, okay, right. So you have to, that's why you have to go to a specialist, because, like, if people don't suffer with anxiety and depression, they will never understand you, and then you will feel lost and lonely.
10-ton beats up in the building.
Again, I'm gonna and it's wicked to hear you talking like that, man, because you know, in a previous podcast we talk about how men find it so difficult to talk, men find it so difficult to say that they're suffering. Do you know what I mean? It's not deemed as very manly, but you know, we live in different times, and I think people like yourself, guys listening to what you're saying now, can now see that it's okay. You know, it's okay to go out there and get help to get back to where you want to be. The worst thing to do is just clam up and not say anything to anyone.
Yeah, like thankfully for me, like my depression was never a suicidal depression. My depression was it was a total and utter emotional burnout, physical burnout. It was like, from the waist down, I would feel dead, and I just couldn't get up. I would just sleep. I would just sleep and sleep. I ain't answering the phone to no one. You know, like, I just don't want to talk to no one. So yeah, then I started coming out of this place, and I'm listening to all the radio. I mean, I'm listening to everything.
Yeah.
And I know I'm penning. I'm just penning.
Sick.
Every single lyric I ever had went. I'm on about 300 bars. Bang. I don't ever want to hear them, because when Decoy comes back, he's coming back. I set myself a goal. I'm going to release 15 videos.
Yeah.
In 15 months. So 1 video a month.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump on radio, and people are going to be like, right, he's a new. And the funny thing was, when I come back, only the man like you, the old school man, right? Everyone else to this day still thinks I'm a new MC.
That's what. To me, that seems so ridiculous, but I think it's because of you know, I've known of you for such a long time and kind of followed you when you were in the scene, and as soon as I knew you were back, I was like, come down to my show, mate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The thing was, when I come back as well, like, I'm so critical of myself as an artist, yeah. And I said to myself for probably 6 months before I come back, do not come back unless you're better than you were, and do not come back unless you believe you can be the best in this game. And I was like, do you know what? Now I looked at all my bars, all my music, everything, and I was like, other than confidence, because my confidence was low because I hadn't been on the stage.
Yeah,
I feel I could take my game now on, you know, up there, you know, top 10.
You can compete with the best, basically.
Compete. So then I've rung X. You know, X is a big up X, man. He's always backed me, man, from years.
Massive shout out to X, man.
Like, I rung him and I was like, I'm coming back, and he was like, D, you've done this before, rah rah rah. And I said, listen, do me a favour. And he was like, I said, I don't want anything, but just put me on a room free. Put me anywhere. Put me anywhere you want to put me. Just dangle me a little carrot and watch me take it. And that was it. X put me in room free at Next Type.
Wicked. And he's been really good. You know, I don't want to talk about X too much because we're talking about you, but you got a big X up for being one of the first to really embrace the new talent coming up. And yes, he's turned it into a business, but at the same time, you know, it's just something that wasn't happening on that scale before.
And also, people, you know, like, if you know him well enough, you'll know that the kind of politics I speak about, you know, on Cornwall and all that, he went through all that and more.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So good.
No, Next for a very, very long time. And, you know,
They did not want to accept him.
Again, like, I'm going to come back to how you were when you were coming up, because you had come with this new style that nobody was doing yet. Same thing for X-Man. he was coming with a style that people knew, but he was doing it very differently with, you know, precise, very clever writing, metaphors, all of that. And people just weren't, they were just like, nah, you can't, nah, you're leaving me behind. We can't let you do that. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, you can't squash talent. It will find a way through. And it did for him. X
will tell you stories about me. Like, I'm going way back. Like, I remember being young, like him on Syndicate, me on Charge FM. And, you know, like I've dropped him a message. I don't know, like, how did we message back then? Pager, text message? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've driven to London to put a tape in his hand. Like, he still remembers, you know what I mean? And I remember him ringing me going, "You're sick." And I was like, oh my God. Like, I felt like I'd made it, you know, like X-Man thinks I'm sick. And that's why he hates it nowadays. Like online, you can just click a button. These people don't know about graft. They don't know about being outside raves, flying at 5 a.m, you know, like handing out your mixtapes.
We've seen that era, and the people that don't get it, they don't have to. Do you know what I mean? We're not saying you have to get it, but all we're saying is you need to have an appreciation for some of the guys that are at the top of the tree, how they got there, because it wasn't as easy as, you know, just sending someone a SoundCloud link. It was a lot more difficult than that.
Yeah.
I mean, even now, I went to a rave with D-Lo, big up D-Lo, my guy, come on. And it was Groove Rider and Fabio's Return to Rage. And even then, I had a USB in my hand. Groove Rider come up to me, we say, man, shook his hand, gave him the USB in his hand. Because I'm from that era where that's how you kind of into people's heads. Because, you know, it's out of sight, out of mind. But it's a very different era now for sure.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, yeah, back in the day, as we say, FM and tapes, and then obviously like internet come about, and you know, like MySpace, and it all started. And do you know what I mean? But for me, like, it's even bringing it up to date, like 2021. You know, like I'm so grateful for the platform that Facebook and Instagram gave me. Like, I've come back and smashed it online, but I don't like it, man. It's a toxic place. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of being online. You know, because like for my anxiety and that, you know, like bare people messaging every day, and you know, you've got to reply to this comment. If you don't reply to that comment, people are thinking, oh, why has he not replied? You know, so it's I see it as a very poisonous place, but it's a place I accept you have to be with. So it's just getting that balance right, you know, because also I don't want to spend 10 hours a day on social media. I just don't want to, for my own.
No, what I mean, like, as you said, for your own mental health, I don't think anybody should be on social media for any longer than they need to. And I think artists are good at using it to promote themselves, but you need to, you know, try and not get caught in the addiction of social media. It's good, put something out there and then see how it runs, come back, have a check. Do you know what I mean? But don't go in too deep.
I think right now with, like, you know, like obviously we're living through these mad lockdowns and that, and I feel like it's been a real blessing for me personally, because I came back in, I've smashed it. Like, personally, I feel like I've smashed it the last 3 years, like consistently smashed it.
Yeah.
You know, nothing wrong with saying I feel a little bit burnt out. I've been traveling, you know, gig to gig, abroad here. And this lockdown for me has been a blessing, because do you know what? Like, say you put a video out now, it's forgotten within 2 days. There's no raves, there's no bookings.
Yeah.
It's a good time for everyone just to take stock, and there's all good being popular online. I know so many people that are you know, they're popular online, but right now it doesn't matter if you're popular or unpopular. We are all the same and equal right now. There's no clubs, there's no raves.
Yeah, I think I think when things do finally start to make a comeback, I think the hierarchy of headliners and all that, I think it's all going to change. I think because there's been a lot of people that have been very quiet over lockdown, and there's been a lot of people who have been very vocal. Some of the people that have been very vocal are certainly not sitting at the top of the tree, but a lot of people are listening to what they're doing now. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, it's about using the time, as you say, wisely.
Yeah, I think as long as you've got a backlog of catalogue, like, you know, like if I hit you up and say, yo, send me a USB, yeah, bang, you send me one. So, you know what I mean? If people say to me, yo, what's going on? I'll be like, boom, go on my Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, you've got content. You've got content there to back you up.
Content's there, you know. So, you know, I'm active at the minute. I'm working on a 4-track EP at the minute. People are hitting me up all the time for features. So, you know what I mean? Just ticking along. But right now, just enjoying And also just the other night, I never play my own music because I'm so critical of my own work. But I was just sitting there the other night, you know, and a little rum, put the YouTube on. I was like, do you know what, man? And I was proud of myself. I was like, yeah, you got some history there, man. Some projects that I'm proud of, you know.
Come on, rum gang. Come on. What's your favourite rum, bruv?
At the minute, like, I'll see if I've got the bottle here. 1 sec.
Talking my language, brother.
This is my new thing at the minute.
Oh, not Dead Man's Fingers.
Coconut rum.
Oh, that looks like it's the business, bruv.
Trust me, dead man's finger, coconut rum. Do you know what? I didn't drink for 18 years, never had a drink.
Yeah.
And, I quite like a little rum now, man.
Why not? Why not, bruv? If you're ever looking for a new rum to try, I've got 2 for you. I'll put links to all these in the show notes as well because I love my rum. Chairman's Reserve.
Yeah.
That is a spiced rum. That's from St. Lucia, where all the best people are born.
I love spiced rum, man. I always drink Captain Morgan spiced rum, yeah.
And the other one is Kraken.
Yeah, Kraken's. Yeah, I rate Kraken still, man.
Kraken's a big one, but we digress. You see, you start talking about rum, and my mind just goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
10-ton beats up in the building.
You were talking about social media and that influence and how you embrace that to kind of make a comeback, which kind of brings us on to my next set of questions. So your return to drum and bass, it seemed like it was intense. It was very confident. Anyone that was watching you at that time knew there was only one place you were going, and you were not accepting anything less. And I think that kind of drive is addictive, which I think that's how you've gathered such a big fan base very, very quickly. It's been a pleasure to watch, to be fair, because, like, you know, you see so many people try and make a bid for it, but they're doing exactly what everybody else is doing. You were the first one to say, right, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it using videos rather than audio. And, you know, people were just like, oh, what's he doing?
That was the thing, because you hit the nail on the head. Like, see the times there when, like, Fatman, X were doing them videos back in the day, like, boom, boom, that tune was talking about, yeah?
Yeah.
They was ahead of their time, but they didn't pursue it for whatever reason. Maybe because they all blew up, got so big in the raves, yeah? So when I was out of the game, I was like, hold on, these grime boys are just fucking
killing it with the videos, yeah.
No one in drum and bass is making videos. So I was like, I'm on these visuals. You know what I mean? I invested, Carl, like, I must have spent 5 bags easy, like $5,000 easy, minimum, probably more.
But that's investing in yourself, though, isn't it? Right.
And then it was just like, and then, you know, I was like uploading them and that, and I was like, right, these are going mad, like, you know, just like on Facebook, getting 10,000 views in like 2 days, I think, on one of my. Wow, like, this is mad. So it was just like, this is the right thing to do. And then off the back of it, I'm so proud, because obviously we'll get to it. But then I started bringing in loads of MCs, all these like any MCs out there now. I've worked with all of them, because I didn't feel that artists at the top really worked with artists, below them. Now I feel if you look at top artists, they all are working with artists below them, and hopefully I had some influence on that somewhere. Because all I did was work with people. I've done the Up and Atom ciphers, you know.
10-ton beats up in the building.
Like, obviously your videos are popping off left, right, and centre, and you're starting to. When did you first start to feel like the videos, or your plan? Because you said, like, you know, 15 videos. When did you start to feel that plan was really starting to work, and you were starting to make steps forward as an MC, and not like just a YouTube MC, but like it was being taken from your videos to you being booked in events?
Yeah, I feel like after the first 3 videos, everyone was like, okay, he ain't fucking up. He's lyrical, his delivery's on point, he's hungry. You can see the hunger.
Yeah.
And then I got the attention of like Navigator and Rico.
Yeah.
And then I dropped the video with Red Alert and Navigator. And then from the time, at the time Rico's like just come out, had all that roll deep, he's got a jungle background, but he's a grime man. And
a lot of the grime guys are jungle first, aren't they?
Rico influenced me, like, so I was like, I hadn't spoke to him for time, didn't know him too well. I was like, yo, Lo, I've got a tune, and he was like, yeah, send it over, let me listen, bro. I've got the voice note of him going, what the like, bomb, like you are. I thought that he was gassed, bro. Yeah? And I was like, shit, like he wants to do this. He was like, he done his vocals the next day, sent them to me. You know what I mean? And then I'm ringing up Rico going like, yeah, I want to do a video. He's like, yeah, bang. Drove up to East London. And then this is what I mean. People like that tune I put out there, like, well, JDZ Media took that and that was a big look for me, even though they're not a drum and bass channel.
That's an absolutely massive look. Anybody that was watching that happening was just like, rah, this shit is popping off.
And again, I felt like certain older man, like, or established people was like, rah, it's happening again. This guy's back again. And he's there, he's doing it again. And I don't know if people liked it, but in this time, I've gone 360, yeah? I'm a humble guy, but this time, I don't care because no one can say nothing to me that's going to put me back in that hole I was in. Because I've done all the life coaching, I've done all the rehabilitation. Like, I understand about energy now. I understand that some people won't be happy for you, and I understand that others will. And I was like, I'm going there, and I don't care who's coming. Like, I'm gone, you know? So after the Rico one, it was just like, yeah, I'm on a roll now, man. And then I started pushing out solos, and I just felt on top of the world, man.
Yeah. I mean, that one you did with Rico, came out on JDZ. I was so gassed for that because I'm a fan of Rico already. I'm a fan of you. I love grime. Do you know what I mean? Like, anybody that knows me knows I listen to as much grime as I do drum and bass.
Yeah.
So I think that almost seemed to be like a power move. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, I'm back. Decoy, yeah, I'm doing these YouTube videos. It's me, lyrical. I've got content. I've got showmanship. Now I'm going to tap into another market. So you got you and you got the grime guys. So now the grime guys fans are listening to Decoy. I just thought that was such a sick play, man.
See, then this is when it all come into play. So when I first made my comeback, obviously, me and Logan are mates. I said to Logan, I said, Dan, I don't want anything. I said, I don't want anything, yeah? All I want you to do is just listen to me. If I ever give you any music, just please listen to it, yeah?
Yeah.
Logan could have put me straight on main arenas. You know what I mean? Like, he's there.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Anyway, so after the Rico video, like, at this time, he's training in my gym, and I'm like, oh, listen to this. Like, bang, playing him the Rico tune. He's just looking at me, and I'm like... And I said to him, I said, I told you I was going to do this 3 years ago, yeah?
Yeah.
And then, by now, he's, Logan's massive. He's got X-Evil, Problem Central's forming, and I'm just so proud of him, yeah?
Yeah.
But then he's like, okay, cool. 2 days later, he rings me. Obviously, like, his old man owns Urban, Mickey Finn, legend, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
big up the man, the legend that is Mickey Finn, and also Logan D, man.
Yeah, and then John, and then Logan's arranged a meeting with John and Mickey, and next thing I'm sitting in the room, and I'm just sitting there, and the most amazing thing was that I'm sitting in this room with John, and I can't remember if Mickey was there the first time. I don't think he was, no. And basically, I thought, okay, I'm going to go into this meeting, and I'm going to show them why they should take me on, yeah? So John was like, what's going on? And I said, okay, well, basically, I've got 27 bookings, showed on my diary in front of me. Minimum fee was about $350 for each booking.
Yeah.
I said, I'm fully booked for the next 3.5 months. And it was more like, tell me what you can offer me.
Well, that's the way it's got to be, isn't it?
Because it was like, what, don't get me wrong, because yourself, you've been to gigs, the promoter's like, oh, sorry, mate, got no money, so.
Yeah.
Always, and I've always been a people person. Don't worry about it, but it was getting to the point where I'm getting busy and I'm earning decent money for once. And, to me, Urban Agency was the pinnacle. If I could have chosen an agency, that's where I would have gone. And I think, and I said to John, I said, well, I've just released 15 music videos. I've got 27 bookings there in front of me. And then I was like, but I want Complex to come on with me.
Right.
Because that's me. So then obviously it was like, well, we'll take you and we'll look at Complex and address that down the line. So and then I've got to make that awkward call. It's just horrible, man. Like I'm on there now still, and me and Charlie ain't as we're not as close as we was, and I wish we was closer because I wish he was still my DJ on the agency, but for certain reasons. I mean, listen, he's released an album with Mackie G.
I mean, let's not That's not Complex is no slouch when it comes to production or DJing. Like, you know, very talented guy.
Traumatic's using his tunes, as a Grimer using his tunes, Harry Shotter's using his tunes. Like this is a top guy, you know. So we are up and out of me and him, but it's very hard to get bookings with Complex because he's not on my agency. I have to work with the DJs on and the agency. So, you know, but yeah, big up John and Mickey and that. And obviously at the minute there's no raves and not, you know, agencies, you know, it's just not a thing. But it is a very professional base that I'm very grateful for because they come, you know, they make sure your travel gets catered for. They make sure you get a hotel. You know, the money goes in your bank. You know what I mean?
All the things that you, when you're coming up, all the things that you want. That's everything you want. Like, you want the agency to come and find you. You want the agency to say, right, sign there and we'll make sure you get, you know, 400 quid or 500 quid or whatever per booking. That's exactly what you want. So I can imagine for your plan, that must have been kind of one of the tick boxes.
Yeah.
Right, made it.
I'll say to like any up and coming MC and DJs, like, firstly, that put your groundwork in, yeah. Do your groundwork. Like, it takes time. Go to those raves for free. Play for free, yeah. Everyone thinks like, you know, like, listen, me, you, I played everywhere for free, right?
Yeah.
Then
me too, man. No, I'll just leave it at that.
You build up a thing, then you can ask for a little bit of petrol.
Yeah.
And you build it up. But I tell you what, there's one thing, and this will come back to you can vouch on this for me.
Yeah.
When you get to a certain situation, wherever you feel that is, you will just know in your heart when you're at that situation. So for me, it was just before I got on Urban, I felt like I never tiptoe around your price to anyone. I used to be like, oh, you know, mate, it's like, oh, I can do it for like a $1 or be confident. I was like, I think there was a time you hit me up, and at the time, mate, it was probably like, $250 or something. You was like, bruv, do you know what? Like, I ain't really got that. And I was like, do you know what? That's cool, man. Wish you all the best for your rave. But we know, and you knew, that the next time, if you did come back, you knew it would be that price.
Yeah, for sure.
So you have to be very careful because you have to be speak politely, speak positively, but say, this is where I'm at, this is where I value myself, and you know, that's what I believe I'm worth, you know. So
yeah, that's exactly it. That's it. It's knowing your worth. And I think especially up and coming performers, it's very easy to give the promoter a free artist because the promoter will always say yes. But you do have to have the confidence, and like, you know, it's been hard for me as well to kind of say, right, this is my fee, and I won't take anything less than that, even if I have to lose the booking. And I think a lot of up and comers, and I fucking hate that term, but a lot of guys have to be able to lose the booking in order to get a booking further down the road.
That was me. When I come back in the game this time round, obviously I'm firing out all these videos. My phone's going pop, 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 pop. You know what I mean? And it was like, yo, how much for a booking? Now I had to decide, because if you go back to when I was on Cool FM, I was picking up 4 bills. I was getting 300-400, So it was like, right, I've just come back in. Do I go back to oneers, or do I say, no, I'm 3-4 bills? And that's what I said. I said, no, I'm 3-4 bills. So basically for a whole year, I got no work.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me because that was never the plan. The plan was not to get the raves. It was just to be in everyone's face so that all the people that messaged me and said no, they come back. The next year they come back and they was like, bam, there you go. And it just went mad.
And that's the thing. You stated your worth, and they know they're not going to get you unless they pay you your worth. And it's an important lesson for any aspiring artist. I think that's a much better way to put it. For any aspiring artist, it's an important lesson to know your worth and to be able to get paid from what you love. You do need to think you're going to give people a price. They might not like it. They might not book you, but stick to your guns because they'll probably come back if they're rating what you're doing.
Yeah, that's it, man.
10-ton beats up in the building.
So we're coming to the back end of the podcast now. So, like you mentioned earlier, like, you know, you got links with Low Down Deep, and you've worked with Rico, and what else have you got planned for the future? I mean, I know you're a man that likes to keep your cards close to your chest, and you execute your plan brilliantly. But, you know, what have you got planned for the future?
So basically,
any exclusives?
No, I mean, at the minute, everything's just like I always have like short-term goals and then long-term goals, you know. So, long-term goal is longevity. I don't believe I've hit my peak yet. I believe I'm getting better all the time. I'm getting more mature. I'm challenging myself with my pen game all the time, you know. So, I feel that MCing's an art, and I feel that I've nearly perfected it, but I still excite myself because I still write some mad things, and I'm like, yes, you know, you're still doing it, you know. So,
still gas yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna put an EP out soon, which has got I can say now that it's got one liquid DnB track on, produced by Elissa. We got Caroline. It's a beautiful tune. It's kind of like about my journey with the ex and my new partner that I've been with, and bit of a deep one, and I also talk about mental health in that tune. So it's again,
brilliant.
If I go back as well to Made It Through the Storm is on Jump Up Cave on YouTube. And you'll see that's 4 years ago. And on my T-shirt, I had just saying about like mental health awareness and that, you know, so it's important. But on that shoot, there's also going to be 2 jump up bangers on there, and there's going to be like a trappy grime sort of beat. So people are going to get to hear me on something different, which is like nice, you know.
What label would that be coming out on?
So basically, at the minute, it's weird because me and Complex have got the Up and Atom label.
Yeah.
But it's hard for us to work together for drum and bass reasons. So
yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, it will just come out on like, you know, Decoy, Spotify, and all them things there. You know, so something like that. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's been a long. I'm very big at X and Evil. I'm very grateful that I have them at the end of the phone. Like Evil's got a lot closer to me the last year, you know, to the level that he will listen to my music, you know. That's amazing, man. I'd love to work with X and Evil in some capacity, you know. So if we're talking about
like Evil's one of my favorite MCs ever. It's so sick.
If we're talking about goals, man, you know, like before this lockdown, like if Evil had a boat, he puts me on the boat, you know. So he's looking out for me. X puts me on all these events. So to run a set with them or do a tune with them, that's got to be the goal for me, man, you know.
I mean, I'd love to see that, bruv. I think a lot of people would love to hear that.
Yeah.
So, if you're a fan of any of these 3, make sure you let them know how much you want to see that combination happen.
Also, big up TNA, Azra and Grandma. Them boys have, I don't want to say too much, but they're, you know, there could be something I'm featuring on in the future, a little project there. So,
yeah,
you know, there's
lots going on.
Yeah, they've changed the game as well. So there's a lot of people that are inspiring me, and it's an uncertain time for all of us, but at the same time, you know, it's an exciting time, man. And you know, I'm very calm, and I believe in the process. And whatever's going on in the world right now is happening for a reason, you know.
Yeah, you just need to keep yourself safe. If you do have something that you're aspiring to do, just keep your eye on it, man. Do you know what I mean? Don't fall away from it because of this pandemic. It's not worth that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So got two last questions just to end the podcast. The first one is, if you could change anything in drum and bass, what would it be?
Wow. I've really like, you know, that's a deep one, man.
To be fair, I did want to ask you about the up and comers you've been helping as part of your Up and Atom videos. You've helped a lot of aspiring MCs. So could it be something like,
if I could change anything, like it would be to have like someone to fund, like, you know, like studio days where I could just ring up all the Up and Atom, like all the MCs I've helped, and be like, yo, we've got a whole day in the studio, you know what I mean? Like someone's funded it like through some music project, and I could just be in there working with them all day. Like we could bang an album out in 2 days, do you know what I mean? So more support, more
for aspiring artists.
Yeah, for aspiring artists. And it still grinds me to this day that in the grime scene, from the day one, like if you go back to Wiley on Westwood, he brings through Chipmunk. Grinds me to this day that in the drum and bass scene on the main stages, every now and then a man needs to look down and go, yo, come up here.
I've got a lot of respect for that, Scott. A lot of respect for that, man.
It needs to happen a lot more for the game, because there's MCs now that are ready, and they will not let that person down. They will deliver a clarity, a professional performance back to back with them on stage. You know, it might be. Look at Storming. This is the perfect thing. Rest in peace, man. Right? Listen,
R.I.P. Storming, man.
Before Storming passed, one of my best moments in drum and bass, and I'm so glad I remembered to get this on. It was Innovation in Dam. He was dying. He was so ill, right?
Yeah.
He struggled to talk. He struggled to walk, and basically, he was on Mackie G's set with Shabba and Skibber, and I was standing on the stage like watching. He stopped the tunes, and in front of everyone in the Melweg, Amsterdam, he introduced me to the whole crowd. He said, "This is Decoy." He said, "Decoy is my brother, and Decoy's going to come through and ride this set with me, yeah?" And
sick.
I basically, like, I checked the mic, and I went back to back with him, Skibber, Shabba, and it was like, wow.
It's another moment, isn't it? It's a moment and a half.
But that moment there, I believe he did that reason for two reasons. One, because he rated me.
Yeah.
Two, because he's from the grime scene, and that's what they do for each other.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
To me, before he passed, he set an example to say to certain people, "Look, this guy's good enough, man. Bring him in."
Yeah. I mean, you are right. There's a lot of artists that sit at the top of the tree that could have brought in a lot of people, but haven't for reasons only they know.
I don't want to eat cake, man, but that's just, you know what I mean? It's time to embrace. There's some good MCs out there now. Great producers, and let's just bring them through, man. The more people that get through, the more there is to eat for everyone. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the scene has it's grown like all over the world. There's a space for everyone. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I feel about it anyway. Last question now: who you rating at the moment, MC wise? Who's really turning your ear? Who's really making you think, "Oh boy, that guy's close"? And the same for producers, DJs as well.
Okay, so right, there's so many MCs, man. Scammer, 100%. Scammer's from like Wales area. He's an unbelievable MC, unbelievable. So I'd have to say Scammer. Wise Us, young girl MC. She's so talented.
Yeah.
D Lady, she's another one. Like, God, MCs.
The girls are starting to represent now, right?
Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? I'd have to just go. I don't want to leave people out. So if I was to pick one boy, you know, it'd be Scammer, and as in the girls, I'd say Wazza, but I've got to give D Lady a shout. You know what I mean? She's up to her eyeballs, man. Got kids and all that, but she's amazing. You know, so yeah, there's just, you know, there's so many that are so good, but they just need to be consistent.
Yeah, very much so. And I think it's that thing of it's easy. I think it's easy to be consistent when you're younger because you don't have a lot of responsibilities. Once you get older, you kind of dip out to take care of kids, or you dip out to do this, or you dip out to go to work or whatever. But consistency is so important.
See that as well. Like when I come back in the game, I came back in with my kids a little bit older. So like I was like, there's certain men now that are having children now. They might dip out the game for 5 years. You don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been through kids, the marriage. I've been through it all. And now I'm like, I'm cushy, mate. I'm ready.
Your time now.
I'm like Peter Pan, mate. I ain't getting no older. You know what I'm
saying? Wicked, man. It was Wiser and Scammer. Yeah, that's who you're rating MC wise. Who you rating kind of DJ producer wise? Obviously, Complex is a given.
Yeah, Complex definitely, man. Do you know what? It's not really my field, man. I get sent beats every day by different people, and it'd be very hard to say one person standing out to me at the minute. You know what I mean? So I can't really say producer-wise, man.
Okay, you know, no, that's all good. All good, mate.
Well, I'll big up Damage Man, and I'll big up Kesman as well. Them two, man.
Come on. My G Damage Man, killing it at the moment. Killing it. Very, very talented guy. And another one that's got like mad responsibilities as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, before we wrap up this interview, I want to big up Belly Man, because obviously like he's done a lot for the scene as well. So, you know what I mean? Like no matter what, he's done a lot for the scene. So working with MCs and DJs.
Yeah, and his Car Bars series is definitely getting like massive views. So yeah, massive shouts out to Belly Man and how he's helped make the scene grow even bigger.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, we're out of time now. Just want to take this moment to say thank you very much to Decoy for agreeing to come and do the podcast. We've been trying to do it for a little while. We finally got it down to do it. And I really enjoyed it, Scott. It's been a really good chat, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I want to thank you, man, because like you're one of the game's good guys that I've always had a lot of time for. So thank you, man, so much.
No, respect, brother. Respect, man. I appreciate that still. Right at the end of the podcast now, it's just time to let you guys know what we've got going on at 10 Tons UK. So last year we put out a vocal drum and bass track because we've got Decoy on. It'd be a good time to mention that, featuring Velocity and Havoc UK. That is out on 10 Tons UK right now. You can go to your music app of choice and download that. That's called Solo Leveling. Previous to that, we had the 10 Tons 100 LP, which is also out now in all good download stores, streaming stores. And going into this year, 2021, we have a lot planned. So make sure you go to your social medias and give us a follow, a like, and let us know what's going on. As for man like Decoy, all the links and all the things that he's spoken about during the show will all be in the show notes. So make sure you go and have a look at those as well. And once again, big up, brother. Lovely to have a chat with you. And we'll see you soon, listeners.
Yeah, man. Take care.